Wow, what a journey that was. I spent the last 3 years Shopify dropshipping. Dropshipping was a vehicle that took me for a ride I would have never expected. I got into e-commerce actually 7 years ago, but I started a jewelry brand. I did that for 4 years while I was at uni. It wasn't making me enough money. I was break even, basically no profits, just spending the money on McDonald's and stuff, to be fair. But then I discovered dropshipping and I was like, I'm gonna give this a go. And the first store I did worked, which is never what you hear online. I had preparation of knowledge and a little bit of luck and timing and play, and I saw an opportunity and I took it and it worked. Yeah, it was a crazy ride. I moved back home after uni when I started this dropshipping store, making, I don't know, a bit of money. And when I finished uni, I decided I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to try and make this work. I rented an office in my friend's back garden, like a little man cave. And I spent 6 months there in basically lockdown in the UK. And I worked myself silly to achieve some results. It then got to the point where I was making enough money and I was like, right, what is the next phase for me? I'm not going to continue to level up here in my hometown in a man cave in the middle of nowhere in the countryside. How can I level up? And that next stage was moving to Bali. So this business I started was making me enough money to travel. I moved to Bali and I spent the last 2 years continually building the company there. I've been to Dubai, I've been to Thailand, and yeah, the last few years I've been traveling all off one dropshipping business. So yeah, it's been a hell of a journey and I want to show you the results because they're absolutely ridiculous. I've got a completely different approach to everyone else and I really truly believe this is how you build a long-lasting, sustainable business. Let's dive into the results and I'll show you everything that went on. As you can see, I started this store in June 2020. When I'd finished uni, I was sleeping on my mate's sofas and it was absolutely a crazy time. As it is for everyone finishing uni, you ain't got a clue what to do. I just knew I didn't want to get a job and I knew I was going to make this work no matter what, and I did. I actually started this off when I was living at my mate's house, pretty sure for free. They would all go out to work and I would like sit at home on the laptop like trying to figure out how to make money, and they all have jobs and I was debating whether to get a job at Papa John's, but I didn't. I held myself back. But yeah, this started in June 2020. I don't know how you can make these results bigger, but it just kept on growing. So what was that? July we did, first month we did 5 grand. July, August, second month we did 14. And at that point, like I already knew like shit, this is working, because it instantly made more money than the jewelry brand that I started, that I'd been doing for 4 years, which was break even. Like I was doing like 40 grand a year, but no profit. This was instantly profitable and instantly scalable. Yeah, and then we got to 14 to 23, back down, and this was purely just running Facebook ads. 30 in November 2020. If I knew what I knew now, I could have scaled this so much faster, but obviously it's a learning process, right? And it just continued. Obviously February went down because it's Chinese New Year and you can't actually sell products because China's on holiday. We bumped back up and yeah, it just continued to grow. The first biggest month was 134 grand in November 2021 because I actually prepared for Black Friday, which is like a before Christmas, everyone's buying stuff basically, so it's really easy to print loads of cash with e-commerce. It just continually growed. I was hiring people, it just continually growing. And at this point I was traveling and building business, networking, figuring out, and this month I did 328,000. At this point I knew what I was doing. I knew how to scale an e-com store, I knew how to hire, I figured it all out, and then we continued to grow it. We're doing 150k months, and actually at the end of it I've actually sold this business and I got an exit. But no one else talks about it on dropshipping, and that is generally one of the biggest benefits of building like a long-term brand. I spent 3 years on a brand. It made me cash flow and profits for ages, and then I sold it and got a big payout. But people don't talk about this, and you can actually do this with dropshipping. But that is a video for another day, and I'll break that down another time. So the biggest question is, how did I learn, and how would you learn? Obviously, that's what you want to understand is. And I learned by basically just taking action. I knew of these things, so how my brain works is if someone tells me something, I can figure it out and just take initiative. I started e-commerce, wanted to sell jewelry. Someone then told me you could do dropshipping. I was like, right, I see an opportunity, I'm going to try dropshipping. It worked. As I was learning, basically every time I'd meet someone who was doing better than me, I'd ask them like, what do you do? I just ask people questions, constantly ask people questions. And that was the biggest thing for me, is basically meeting people and networking who are better than me and where I wanted to be. I'd always ask them questions. I met a friend called Kamal, basically said, run Facebook ads. I learned Facebook ads. And that was one of the biggest changes for me because the Facebook ads really printed a lot of money. I met another person who was like, run Google ads, started running Google ads. He was like, and I figured out how to make content. I was really good at making content. And I basically just learned by falling forward. So I would just do stuff, make a mistake, get stuck at something and Google the problem, just basic stuff. Yeah, I never bought a course. It all came down to networking, who I knew, and just asking people questions and moving forward consistently. So what I advise if you are trying to start any business is basically just take action. What I would do is I'd get a notepad out and be like, right, what needs to be done to get there. So I'd write down all the components of all the tasks that needed to be done, and I would do it. Really that simple. And the past 3 years, I've got like 1 million notebooks all full of to-do lists, and they're all 50% done, but it worked. I basically did a little bit every day, and genuinely, in my head, to build a good business, you need to spend 3 to 4 hours a day of solid work, and that can build you a business, because you're hiring, you're building systems. You don't need to do 8-10 hours a day. Obviously, there were days we were doing absolutely ridiculous amount of time. But yeah, mapping out the process. Every month I would review the progress and think, right, what are we doing wrong? And again, it comes back to this. When you meet someone who is doing better than you, ask them questions. So I met another person, I won't mention his name, and I was really struggling with managing, how to scale, how to make more money. And he was like, right, break down the tasks. Revenue generating tasks, important tasks, urgent tasks, non-essential tasks. There's no point wasting time on the non-essential tasks. You need to be doing is the important tasks that will not make effect now, but 6 months down the line will make you a lot of money. But they're always really boring and no one ever does them. Like, example, hiring a customer support agent or improving your product packaging. You do that now, but in 6 months time, you'll notice the difference because you can sell your business. You don't get many returns. Your back end's good. There's no problems, right? So revenue generating tasks, important tasks, urgent tasks, and non-essential. You need to break all the tasks down, categorize them, and basically apply that and figure out, right, what needs to be done now for the future to make a lot of money. So how I learn is basically taking action, using notebooks, and whenever I found a problem, just Google it, and networking and go into places where I can learn. So that is why I've built my Discord community, because for me, the biggest levers for me learning was basically meeting people and asking people questions. So I'm building a community, I'm building a paid members. It's on pre-launch right now. If you want to speak to me every week, we can do that. I can help you personally. That will take you further than anyone else. Do you know what I mean? When you can ask someone who's been there and done that. Same with other people. I've got 2 people in there who are also there to speak to you and basically network and help you. If you've got a question with ecom, your problem, like let's say your ad account's banned, how do you fix that? We can solve it. Stuff like that. That is what really helps. So yeah, the community link's there. Join it, and hopefully I'll see you there. We're also doing free live weekly calls if you guys are new and you want to try and figure out what it is. So yeah, check that out as well. So I'm going to break down the one skill I truly believe will give you the best advantage in e-commerce and marketing to this day. So I started e-commerce because I got into content creation. I got into content creation because I liked skateboarding, as mad as that is. Check out Instagram, loads of skating on there. But we would make video edits, film all the time, and that is basically how I learned how to create content. So I was creative. If I was to learn any skill for e-commerce, it would be video editing, content creation, Photoshop, how to create ads. If you can learn one high valuable skill out of e-commerce, you can learn everything else. So I would suggest learn how to create content and learn how to run Facebook ads. You learn those 2 things, the rest will fall into place. So those were the 2 things I was really good at, and I think those are the biggest levers. Most people go into dropshipping now and they have no clue, but I started with a skill and I built on it. So I would advise you is start with a skill like content creation. So you're going to make content for people, you make your own edits, or you learn how to do Facebook ads and you work for another company and do Facebook ads. Learn a specific skill and then move into it, and then you will find an opportunity. Like, I spotted an opportunity of a business to start a product which I found because I've been learning the industry. So that took me 4 years. I would say it would take 6 to 12 months for anyone to get like a rough idea. I think it takes 3 years to sort of like master it and know all the angles, but it's a slow process. But you got to think, if I can change my life in 6 months, quit my job, do all this, why don't you? Like, if you really get your head down and do it, you can. Everyone has a different routine, everyone learns differently, and it's completely different for everyone, right? So you just need to figure out what works best for you. For me, my ultimate routine is wake up at like 6 AM, I'll do 2 to 3 hours of work in the morning, then I'll go to the gym, and then I'll chill for a bit, and then I'll work in the day again, and then I'll chill for a bit, and then I'll do a bit of work in the evening. But all the hard work is done in the morning. Usually when I'm in proper grind mode, every night before I go to bed, I'll figure out what I need to do the day before. Every morning I'll check the to-do list, I'll break all everything down, and then every month I'll do like a master business plan and write what it needs to be done, because you get so much mental clutter, you need to write it down. So notebooks and management are super key. Another reason why this business was so successful was hiring people. You need to understand and look at this as building a company. You first start, you need to put all the groundwork in. You need to learn everything. You need to at least know 20% of everything. After that, once the business is working and profitable, the only way you're going to make more money is if you hire people that are better than you. You cannot do everything yourself. I see this quite a lot. Like, people will be running the whole business themselves, working 8 hours a day. You can't make money like that, and you can't enjoy life. You will be better off hiring someone who is better than you, because they can teach you. And then you start hiring all these people. So let's say there's 8 components of the business. At the start, you're running all 8, then it gets down to 6 to 4 to 5. Every time you hire this person who is specifically in this field, they teach you another 5 things, then your knowledge goes up. The next person you hire teaches you 5 things, and your knowledge goes up. It is very important to hire people that are better than you. And I did that. That was one of the key factors for me to make more money, because they know what they're doing. They've been working on this for years as well. And then you collectively add knowledge. So again, it comes back to the importance of networking, meeting people, because you can do these networks. So like, I would always call people. I'd book calls with people, like, hey, we've got this thing, we're looking for this role, like, what do we do? Just book calls with people, speak to people on the phone, get their knowledge, exchange knowledge, network, brainstorm. In the Discord chat, I've made this like hangout chat because I think it's a super good idea, because when everyone's working at home bored, you can just join this chat in the paid members section. You join it, hang out, you can just talk with people in the members section and work together, ideas together. That is how you will progress further. If I were to start again and I was in your position, what would I do? I would definitely start with dropshipping, because it's a positive cash flow model. But if I was beginning out straight away, you need money to put aside every month to start your new business. So it costs money. This is normal. Don't be afraid of that. You need to spend money to make money. That's just general laws of the universe and life. Like, yes, you can start things for free, but ideally you need a bit of money. Be smart about it. If you don't have money, use someone else's, or maybe ask for a loan of someone that you can pay back. But you need to be confident in yourself. I'm not advising this. Everyone has a different risk tolerance. But what I did is I got a loan from someone and I made the business work. Or I don't know, just figure it out. There's always ways to get a bit of money, or you get a part-time job or your full-time job and you put cash aside every week. So what I would do is every month, if I was starting off, if I had a part-time job or full-time job, I'd put $500, £500 aside per month to start a store. I would then test new stores every month until one worked. As soon as I found one that worked and I was like, shit, this is actually working, I would double down and I would build it into a brand, and I would continue to scale. And then you'll find yourself making ridiculous amounts of money if the product and marketing continues to work. But with like every business, dropshipping has multiple problems, and yes, it's difficult. So how I describe dropshipping for someone, in my opinion, it's easy, but there's so many components to learn, it can be hard. Does that make sense? So it's a low barrier to entry business model. Like, there's not much to learn. No, the difficulty level isn't too hard, but so many components. That's why it can be very daunting at the start. But again, everything's on the internet for free. You can learn it, take progress. I would say number one, start a Shopify store. Got a link in the description, $1. $1 a month, you can start a Shopify, just build that, and then you can go from there and be like, right, I'm gonna find a product. Find a product from a website, from a supplier, put it on the website and try and brand it. If you brand a product, brand a website, you can sort of go, oh, would this sell, would this work? Progress, progress, progress. Get to a point, progress. Run an ad, stop, didn't work, progress. Constant progress. But yeah, my biggest takeaways of the 3 years of being successful in dropshipping, because not many people can prove that. I literally sold my company, which is a big achievement. Little pat on the back. The biggest takeaways I had is there's going to be loads of problems. You need to be quick at solving problems. You need to be good at hiring, and you need to be good at creating content. I'll say those are the biggest levers. If you can make good content and you understand how ads work, you'll always be able to make money. Peace and love.